the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on a Thursday. Is it Thursday or Wednesday? It's a Wednesday morning. What am I saying? I don't know what day of the week it is most of the time. I don't know where I am most of the time. But on a Wednesday morning, we're so glad that you've joined us whenever and wherever it is, whether it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're just glad that you joined us here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake, our program and podcast, and all Auburn Blitz. It's brought to you by Glenda Mitchell Law Firm. We appreciate Glenda Mitchell. She fights for you, fights to make sure the insurance companies do what they're supposed to do if you were to be in a traffic accident. I hope all of you out there never are and never have to experience that. But if you are, you got somebody that will fight for you and will come to you and give you her personal cell phone if you are a client of hers. So I don't know if you can get any better than that. So call them the Glenda Mitchell Law Firm if you need her. Randy, good to see you this morning. This is obviously a recorded pod. I just got home from the game, so it's kind of a post-game show a little bit. A brutal loss to Vanderbilt. No other way to spin it. This is Auburn's third home loss in SEC play. They're 5-6, 14-10 overall, with a very tough stretch coming up. There's no other way to spin it. Got to go to Arkansas. They'll be looking for revenge after what Auburn did to them earlier in the year, and Arkansas is always a hard place to go play. It doesn't matter when it is, but they got that facing them. And so this team's got an identity crisis, in my opinion. We'll talk about that. And then where does it go from here for the remainder of the season and kind of the outlook on that. But good to see you this morning.
Well, good to be seen, and tough loss. Amazing what can go down in a couple of weeks' time, Brett. You go back a couple of Saturdays ago, we go on the road, we win for the first time, and since God knows when, down in Florida, and do it in an amazing fashion in the way that we stopped their inside play and defensively what we did against them on that Saturday. And since then, Auburn just hasn't been the same. And we know there's a lot of pieces missing. There's seems to be some disgruntled fans, disgruntled coaches, all of the above seem to not have the answers that Auburn needs to get this thing going in the right direction. So we can start with it. There's a lot of different ways that you can spin it. I don't think anybody's got the perfect answer other than this is not the stretch that we thought we would get, especially with some home games.
The defense is where it stops and starts for me. It was talked about yesterday. Auburn's one of the worst defensive three-point shooting teams in the country. They've been terrible in games, letting teams get downhill. That's what happened last night with Vanderbilt. I tweeted out. I go back, for anything, I tweet the entire game for anybody that wants to follow along, and I know a lot of you do out there. If you're not able to watch, kind of give you a play-by-play of what's going on. I don't do every play, but kind of get you through each half. And, Auburn got down 7-2. They were getting to the basket way too easily. They come out and hit a three that was uncontested. I think that's 2 or 3 games in a row. A team's come out and hit a three right out of the gate. And Stephen Pearl talked about that in the press conference after the game. Just way too easy for teams to get their confidence going in Neville Arena. And I'll say this is 2 or 3 times this has been brought up to me by other people on Media Row. It's just not loud in there anymore. It wasn't loud against Alabama. It was a Tuesday night game, 6:00 against Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt's number 19 in the country. And it's like, it just doesn't get loud, but in certain times. And like we were talking about back just a couple of years ago, even last year before last, that the entire time the opposing team had the ball, it was deafening. That's not the case anymore. The only time the arena gets loud now is when, there's a bad call or Auburn gets down and makes a little bit of a run, but it is just not the intimidating environment that has been built over the last 6 or 7 years. And, you people can say whatever they want to say, but it has a lot to do with multiple different things. But that's another reason that Neville is just not the intimidating environment that it has been the last 5 or 6 years.
Well, I think we get caught up thinking, you look at Jordan-Hare Stadium. We get caught up thinking that the environment can win you football games night in and night out. And no, not necessarily. I mean, it can help get you over the hump from time to time. But Brett, you got to have the Bows and the Joes. And look, there you can spin this however you may. I'll spin it in two different fashions. One, Bruce Pearl's not there. Number one, top of the league, top of the heap. You can't come up with anything more than that guy knows how to sell a product. He can get you engaged when it's very difficult to get someone engaged. And he does it throughout the year. He doesn't just start like week one and then he's not engaged. And look, Steven's there, but Brett, you got a son. I've got a son. You know what? The first thing I can tell you about my son, he's not me. He's 12 years old. And Braden, I can tell you, at 12 years old, I knew Braden missed a lot of those Pritchard genes and he got a lot of Boone genes in him. And I wish I had more of those Boone genes in me. I might live to 110, but you and my genes probably gonna get us to maybe 75. It's unfortunate, but but that's where we are, Brett. And we aren't all the same, and I think that is difficult part as we sit here and watch this thing move on. Is you want some of what Bruce gave, but you're not going to get that from Steven. That's not his personality. I'd love your take on that, but people are going to want him to be what his father was, Brett, but he's not. And does that not mean he can't win basketball games moving forward? Absolutely not. People with different personalities win. But Bruce Pearl built something at Auburn when nothing was there to be had, and he built it straight off of marketing and personality coming from him. And I don't see it right now. And that's a difficult replacement to even start. And that has nothing to do with basketball, by the way. That has everything to do with the person that's at the top that's pleading with you to get engaged.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. I think you're obviously going to have pressure following anybody that's as great as Bruce Pearl, and then it happens to be your dad. And no, I don't know that anybody really wants Stephen Pearl. I think the jury is going to still be out until maybe this time next year on Stephen Pearl, on get him through this year and then see what he's able to bring in, see what kind of money Auburn dedicates to him and his staff, see who he retains, see what coaches stay. There's just a lot to talk about. But right now in the moment, just an analysis, and just from a lot of us in the media up there, and we're not throwing stones, we're just making observations. He looks lost at times. The team looks lost at times. When things aren't going well, it looks like, and I had one guy tell me, he's like, it's just like, how do we get through this moment? And, I made a point to kind of watch him a lot last night. And, it's just, again, you can say it's Bruce. It's not it ain't even about that. It is, I think there's just parts of him that go, I don't really know what to say at this point, because it's like he's preached all week, last week and this week, about being better on the perimeter defensively. And you come right out and Vanderbilt just has their way shooting the basketball from outside. Now, I know they only made 8 threes. They were 8 of 23. Auburn was 7 of 17. But they had – it could have been worse with how many wide open shots they had. They missed 4 or 5 that should have probably been, shots that would have gone down. But they hit 2 of those threes in the second half, and those happened to be daggers at the time. And again, Auburn played defense pretty well until about a second or two left in the shot clock. And I think I tweeted out that Vanderbilt scored 4 times in the second half, literally, as the shot clock was running out. And they played defense right up until then. And sometimes, you got to tip your hat, a team makes a shot. But we got destroyed in the paint. And, Steven said he thought that we did a good job of attacking the paint, but we couldn't finish, but they did. It wasn't really even about rebounds, because, rebounding, they had 27 rebounds. We had 36. It wasn't about that. It was our execution when we got inside, in the way we, either distributed the ball or didn't. And so there's a lot of different things. And he even took some blame about getting some things adjusted late in the game and should have done this. And, it really boils down to, for me, this roster and just don't have a lot to pick from. And you got multiple 36, 37-minute guys. Then you got a couple of guys that give you significant minutes off the bench, but you're not getting any production really. You're getting maybe some minutes, but 9 total bench points tonight for Auburn, only putting up 76 points. So I don't know that you're going to see much more out of this team. Obviously, Caden Magwood's not an option. If he was an option,
You'd
tonight would
already
have been.
see it.
Yeah, because
Yes.
Auburn got in foul trouble. They had 4 guys with 3 fouls early in the second half, and he chose not to do that. And then you sit. My phone lit up about Keyshawn Hall, and he got a technical foul. And, Stephen got a technical foul not too far after that, but not sure that, Keyshawn said something to him, and it made him sit him out the rest of the game. But at that time, Keyshawn had 13 points, was one of the top scorers for Auburn, and we never saw him again. So I don't know. I just they're trying to figure some things out. I'm not sure they're going to.
Well, I think okay, this is going to be my second point. You're asking so much from these 6 or 7 players
100%.
night in and night out, and it's
Yep.
a different thing that you're asking every week too, Brett, in every game. And that doesn't mean that that's not the case for every team. But when teams have 9 or 10 deep, there really is a set role that you have. But there is no set role for this group because there's no one to look over there to the side and say, I need someone that can clog this paint and really be a defensive enforcer like we had with Dylan Cardwell for the last 4 years. The human's not there. Like, there's nobody. And what's is it Steven? Is it Bowman? Is it the crew that's there's fault that Auburn didn't put a good enough roster together to compete for the extent of the year? I don't know. Maybe like you give him one more year, Brett.
I'm definitely
get
going
him
to give
through
him
this.
one.
This is the point I think you're making. You give him till next year, and you see. And if Auburn is this deficient with their choices now,
Yeah.
he was
Right.
involved in 3 key choices that I sound like a broken record, but it's because you need to be.
Right.
Those 3 guys, if they were giving you something, then you wouldn't be expecting all this. Like, we need perimeter shooting right now. Would you agree with that?
Oh, we're so deficient, and you bring Kevin Overton in to be a defensive specialist. He's your best 3-point shooter.
He's your best 3-point shooter. Here's my point. Simon Walker, that hasn't worked out. Now, I don't know why it hasn't worked out, but it hasn't worked out, period. Let's don't spin it one way or another, okay? You need someone on the interior that can be a shot blocker, can do some things around the rim where Jovic can play the 4 instead of the 5. That would be
Right.
nice, wouldn't it? Get some minutes at that 4. We saw Steven talking about that this week.
He's a mystery to me. He had a game against South Carolina. It was his career best. Had 28 minutes in that game, scored 23 points.
Yeah.
He won the game. If he doesn't have a career night, Auburn loses to South Carolina at home. And ever since then, it's been 12, 14, 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Very limited production point. What happened there?
Well, I think that he knows that teams are going to realize that they've got a major size advantage at that 5 when he's in there. I'm just guessing. I'm speculating. I would think that. I mean, he's a 6'8", 6'9" guy that's having to play with extreme.
He works his butt off.
It reminds me of like the first couple of years of the Bruce Pearl era, where we were so small that you expected someone to just play with all out heart on the interior, even though they didn't match what we were seeing night in and night out. And I don't know, Brett, that's just a speculation. I mean, he would be a much better at the 4 and give us a much better chance there. But we don't have, outside of Murph, what are you going to do? There's nobody over there to lean to. And the Caden Magwood and Ja'Kai Howard situation is unfortunate the last couple of years for Auburn. Because we did have some depth, but we could have had better depth last year.
And we missed on Pegues too. I mean,
we missed majorly on. Yeah, so it's hard in today's game where you're out there spending money and you have a limited budget in comparison to some teams that you're trying to compete with, and you miss. It makes it exceptionally difficult, and I think that's where we are. And so, I don't know if this team can get back to where they were 2 weeks ago, hey, Tahad's playing good on the offensive end.
Yeah,
He's
this
giving you
is
a
a
ton.
couple games in a row now. He's really, if he doesn't have these offensive games, it's a blowout.
Well, and so much pressure is put on Hall to score 25 a night.
Yeah, we've been saying that all year.
Yeah. So, but what there's no other option. I mean, Freeman's giving you a little bit, but not much
It's not
on
much.
the offensive end.
No, it's not much at all.
So you've gotten way more out of KO than I think you ever expected to.
And better be glad you're getting. Be glad you're getting it, because I'm telling you, it would be brutal right now without.
So I don't look over there and think we're doing a terrible job of coaching the pieces that we have. I think several of the pieces that we have, we're getting as much, if not more, than we expected out of them. But we're getting nothing out of 3 of them. We're getting very little out of the 4th, and that's all that you have sitting over there on that bench, and that's the problem. And the depth piece on the interior is the biggest issue.
I'm gonna go back and look at the 5:39 mark in the first half. That foul upgrades to an F1. This is 2 games in a row now, and multiple F1s. And the game was tied at 26. Auburn had fought back, tied the game. They had 2 free throws and got the ball. We had a chance to get the ball twice and couldn't do it. And then they ended up making shots. It was a 4-point possession for them. So they went up 30-26 and then went on to go on a 13-2 run. But by the time the 5-minute mark got to the 2-minute mark, it was 39-28. Mm-hmm. And then at half, it was 42-31. And then on from there, they extended the lead in the second half to 47-33. And then Auburn was fighting uphill the rest of the time. It was 61-47 with 8:59 to go in the game. At that point in time, Vanderbilt had a 30-16 advantage in the paint, which that was the difference in the game. And so Auburn was still fighting. They cut it to 10 with 8:35. F1 against Vanderbilt with 5:33 to go in the game. Auburn then cuts it to an 8-point lead with 4:38 and then gets it to a 2-possession game with 3:57. So at 68-62. So after all that, you fight back and you're within 6 there, and you end up cutting it to 4, get a stop, have a chance to do more damage, can't make a shot, and then it becomes a free throw contest at that point, and Vanderbilt ends up winning the game. I'm not doubting the effort's there. I know nobody questioning the effort and from this group, and they fight, but I am seeing frustration creep in, and you're at a breaking point right now, past the halfway point of the SEC schedule, where you're about to have to play Kentucky, Arkansas. You're going to have to go on the road, even though Mississippi State's not very good. You got to go over there and play at 8 o'clock. You've got you're going to have to play Alabama again at the end of the year. There's just it's a brutal stretch. There's no other way to spin it. And, you just hope that you can do something to kind of stay in the game, because I think you're really looking at a situation with a team that's, kind of down and out right now and knows that they don't have a lot of help. Are they going to wear thin, and are they going to throw the towel in at some point? That's what you are concerned with.
Well, we'll go back to both points that I've made already.
Before you do that, can we go to some partners first?
Of course.
Yeah, because I want to come back and let you say what you want to say there. Sensa Green, for air that is cool and clean. Call on Sensa Green. They are the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, proud supporters of Auburn athletics and proud supporters of the Auburn Blitz podcast. Professor Greenback's doing a great job saving you a lot of money on a new installation. Call on Sensa Green for heating, cooling, and insulation, for whatever it is that you need. Scout Program Management, go check them out, scoutpm.com. They are the best in the business program management company to handle your next big project. I've watched them handle the one in Alex City. I've watched them do what they've done in Gunnersville. They're about to start a project in Opelika. They're going to start a project in Marshall County. Up in North Alabama, they have been on the project at Moody High School. They have been part of so many different projects. There's a reason all these systems are picking Scout Program Management, because they're the best in the business. So call on them for your next big project. Go check them out online, scoutpm.com. Bunkers in downtown Auburn with 50 parking spots. Lots of fun. If you like to have fun, and I don't know who doesn't like to have fun, you need to go find Bunkers. They got great food, great atmosphere, live music on Thursdays and Fridays, line dancing. I mean, everything that you want all the way through the weekend. Any type of big game that's on, they have it on all the TVs there. So much fun. If you have not discovered Bunkers, it is your fault. I don't know what you're doing. So downtown Auburn, great times every time we go there, and we're already looking forward to going back. And we will be at the Cart Source, Alabama's premier golf cart superstore, on Wednesday, February 18th. And we need you to come out and see us. Easy Go Cushman Yamaha Club Car, they got them all. And I drove by there today, and I have never seen – they just got another shipment in. They move golf carts more than anybody I've ever seen. And I know why, because when you pull up out there, the deals are so good. I mean, you almost say, if I don't take one of these home with me, I've screwed up. So 334-231-2205 on Highway 280 right there in Davil, Alabama. Check out the Cart Source, Alabama's premier golf cart superstore. Okay, I'll let you continue.
Well, just back to my two initial thoughts. I mean, any other year, and trust me, we've had a couple of years even on this strong stretch with Bruce Pearl where he could set the stage, though. You know, he could talk to the fan base and give us a reality check and set the mood on what the fan base needed to be thinking and what we're building for and what to expect from players. And that's going to be a little bit of a work in progress with Steven. Let's put it that way. He doesn't have that type of personality, and I think that is a difficult thing. But again, I don't think that that's going to make or break him. I think the most important thing is what you bring up with points in the paint. And teams have got a lot of film on us now, Brett. I mean, you're starting to find ways and the weak links on teams. And I think that goes back to what you were talking about at our 4 and 5 position. I mean, we don't have rim enforcers on this team. Murphy is giving us more than you and I expected. And we've been watching Keyshawn Murphy since he was, a freshman in high school. I can remember seeing Keyshawn Murphy at Ramsey. I mean, this guy's always extended his game to the perimeter, always had a nice, fluid way that he played that wasn't just necessarily a bull in the paint.
Right.
And we don't have that piece on this squad. So if you're wanting to get downhill like you saw with Vandy, if you're wanting to get the ball to the bucket, there's not someone coming over that's keeping that lane clogged up. And teams have got to be seeing that. And I think they are, Brett. And I think that's part of the reason that Jovic's time's gone down. Does it mean that he is not a good piece? I just think he's playing out of position. And I think, unfortunately, quite a few of our players are like Keyshawn Hall. I mean, Keyshawn Hall's not a 4. I don't know what anyone would expect to see, but he's having to play an inside role from time to time, and he's having to, lean in and get a lot more rebounds than he's a straight up scorer, and I hope that he ends up getting a lot of professional basketball in his career based off of that scoring prowess. But there's a lot more being expected out of him now, Brett, and you do about midway or a little bit past midway through the season sense that some players are getting frustrated. I would be too.
It feels overwhelming right now. And then, you go to Arkansas, who is 8-3 in the league, ranked 21. They're 18-6. John Calipari's really got them playing great basketball. They're only a half game out of first place. Tied there with Kentucky. Florida's 8-2. Again, one of their 2 losses is to Auburn. It's kind of wild. One of Arkansas's 3 losses is to Auburn. And then you got A&M, Vanderbilt right there. But Auburn is now under 500 in SEC play. They're 5-6. They're 14-10. I don't remember. Maybe somebody can help me. I think this dates back to the 2020-2021 team, the COVID year, where it just had a lot of talent, just couldn't put it together and didn't have a good year. And I think every year after that, Auburn's had pretty good seasons, but it's been to that year. So again, that's it's been a minute. It's been, 6 going on 7 years since Auburn's experienced, maybe a stretch like this. And again, there's a lot of things to analyze and evaluate. And the thing I'm going to evaluate right now is the schedule moving forward and how can Auburn, like you just said a couple of weeks ago, we were like, oh man, Auburn, they're going to get to 10-8. This is a no-brainer. Now you look down and go, I don't know about that, because they're sitting here below 500 with an Arkansas game. If they go up there and pull out a win, it'll be massive. It could kind of turn things around, but they're 70% Arkansas on the FPI to win that game, and rightfully so. Then you got a Mississippi State team on the road. If it was at Auburn, I'd feel better about it. You got to go on the road and play them. They're 11-12. They're not very good, but we're not very good either. We're 14-10. So, and that's an 8:00 game, so that's not good. And then you got Kentucky coming back in on Saturday the 21st. They're in the top 25 now. They look like they've kind of turned some things around. They're playing a little bit better. They have a deep bench, so you got to think, well, that's another team that's got an advantage. And then Oklahoma just beat this Vanderbilt team that we just lost to. And they went into Nashville and beat them 92-91. And so Oklahoma's had 4 or 5 games where they easily could have won, and they're 12-12. And you got to go on the road at 8:00 on a Tuesday night there. That's going to be tough. And then, so you're looking at a stretch here coming up the next 4 games. Can Auburn get one of those? Can they get 2 of them? And then after that, you got 3 games: Ole Miss, LSU, and Alabama. Now, LSU's terrible. They come to Auburn. Ole Miss is not very good. They come to Auburn. I believe that's Ole Miss coming to Auburn. Yes. And then you end on the road at Alabama, which Alabama just came to Auburn and won. Of course, they had Bediako, and they won't have him. But there's some tough teams coming down the stretch. Can Auburn pick up? Is Auburn going to be able to get 5 wins out of that group?
It's so hard to say, Brett. I mean, it really is. I hate to keep harping on the same thing, but if you could get to that three game stretch with 2 wins, I think you can win the last 3. I do. I think they're all winnable games. I don't think Alabama's a world beater. That was a bad loss Saturday because we didn't play poorly. Alabama just shot the eyeballs out of it in the second half.
And we just didn't play good defense outside.
Yeah, we look, if you give them shots, that's what they're built for, and they did it. But offensively, we didn't play bad at all. And our energy was really outstanding. We just did get decent defensive stops. A lot of teams don't get defensive stops against Alabama. But to have the lead the way that we did a lot of that game and not close it out is also a reason that you probably see a team look disinterested and a fan base and a student body that doesn't seem like they showed up to participate tonight. But it's understandable, man. I mean, it's all part of what I keep going back to. And it's the first year minus the best coach you've ever had in program history, and by far the best salesman that you've ever had in that role in program history. And you've got a fan base that bought in, yes, to Auburn athletics, but they bought into him, Brett, and there is going to be a little bit of a down cycle here. But he's not coming back. So we got to find a way to
and you don't want the program forward. You don't want it to, and I think that's kind of what the topic was with some other people. You don't want to wait around, and we're not insinuating anything here, so don't anybody take it. But you got to be able to know when it may not be working, and if things need to change, whether it's leadership, whether it's whatever. I mean, whether it's roster, money, all that stuff, everything.
I'm way more convinced that second's the biggest problem.
Well, and
Auburn does not have the roster to, once you get this much film on us, Brett. There's so much film running around out there that we got gaping holes, and I don't know that you can clean that up. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
That's why you just gotta, you got to give this thing a full 1 year stretch and see
totally agree.
What he can do as far as bringing in, talent. And, you got 1 signee in this class, so it's obviously going to be another portal haul. How much money is Auburn going to give and devote to building this roster and getting the pieces that you need? So
can he sell it? can he sell those guys?
Well,
Bruce?
I've said that.
Yeah.
It's not just about a bunch of money. You gotta convince guys that they can come here and compete for something. I mean, it's not just about look. Everybody wants to get paid, but you can't. Everybody else is out there offering a lot of money too. So you got to convince the top guys that are in the portal to come play for you. And
you don't have that Bruce Pearl name. You don't have that lore around him.
You got the Pearl name, but you don't have the Bruce Pearl name. And like you said, I think you said it best. And I'm not giving anybody a pass or whatever, but you made that call. You made that decision when you hired him, and you gotta be objective. Like, again, we all have kids, and most of the time they're your blood, but they may not be who you are personality wise.
No,
and again, but you got to make sure again that this was the guy that you wanted to take the reins from the best coach in program history and continue to keep it where it is. You don't want to take steps back. You don't want to feel like you're going back to an irrelevant situation. And you got to know when to pull the trigger on whatever it is to make sure it doesn't happen. And
and I know that you agree with me on this, but I want to say a couple of things here. We're not saying that Stephen Pearl can't get this done. I am calling a spade a spade. And I've never met a coach that left when he had his best roster. Every coach I've ever known to moved on directly after he thought his best roster was gone. High school ranks, college ranks, wherever you may be, you're not leaving when you got 10 seniors that you've had 6 or 7 of them together for multiple years like we did last year. I mean, you'd have to coach pitifully to not win basketball games with that group and all the coaches that were with him too. It was a great program that was put together. So, tap the brakes a little bit, but what I think you're saying better than most that I hear is, you've got to give him this year. But things must prove that you're not sitting here next year going, oh my Lord, we missed on 3 or 4 pieces and we're only playing 6 or 7.
Yep.
And you look over in Texas where they had a coach that's right here from the state of Alabama that I could not have said more positive things about. And trust me, I know a lot of Auburn fans don't like Bucky McMillan at this point by some of the things that he said. But anybody that didn't see this coming at A&M had their eyes closed because there hadn't been a single program that he didn't do this with. So Stephen's going to have his chance, and it's not going to be a last-second move by Bruce. And he's going to have to put together a roster that can be deep enough to compete that way. And Stephen's gotten a lot of credit for Auburn being a great defensive team in the past. And maybe he can put a great roster around his strengths, which is the defensive end and good, strong size.
That's got to start showing up. That part's got to start showing
But I'm going to wait until it's him to put the roster together and before I jump ship right now. And I think most Auburn fans agree with that, but we've been spoiled, buddy. And it's not fun to watch what we've seen, especially at home the last
I think that's probably it more than anything. You just don't want to slide and keep sliding and ride something until it goes, okay, we've kind of messed up here. It's going to take a while. So, yeah, I'm not saying he's on a short leash, but I'm saying you got to, and again, things could turn around right now. I mean, you go on the road and beat Arkansas this weekend, all of a sudden you're like that because nobody gave Auburn a shot in hell of beating Florida on the road.
No, and I didn't either.
And so, yeah, I just you just don't know. I mean, can you right the ship? Can you get some big wins? Sure. I mean, this season, you still got a lot of basketball to play. Let's see what can happen. Again, I don't know that if you go to Arkansas and get your doors blown off, that will do very much for your confidence. But maybe they can go over there and compete really hard and see. They've already blown that team out once. I know Arkansas was shocked by that. It's the worst loss of the season for them by far, to the point where John Calipari said, I don't even want to watch that again because I don't even know what that was. So, again, you just got to go play them one at a time. You got to get better in practice. And everybody's got deficiencies. Auburn right now is just glaring because they don't have a lot of options. And so, all right, let's get to some more of our partners here real quick. Russell Medical Center, we will be there here in just a few hours. Faith and I will be at Russell Medical Center, and we can't thank them enough. Jackie Pearl will be our special guest over there. Again, there's another Pearl name. the sister of Stephen. She's done so much for Outlive and Russell Medical Center and the foundation and everything. So we're excited to have her over there with us at lunch today. So if you're in the area, stop by and see us. We'll be at Russell Medical Center, another one of our great partners, one of the top 3 hospitals in the state of Alabama, partner with UAB Health. Nothing is more important than your health care. So go check them out there in Alexander City and Alex City Marine. For boat sales, rental, service, and storage. They got it all. They've got great options to pick from pontoons to center consoles. They got everything that you're looking for. All of their boats are powered by Suzuki and Mercury and Hondas. I mean, there aren't any better lines of motors in the business. So, you're going to get great service. You're going to get great product. They're going to have a boat show coming up very soon, but you need to get ahead of the boat show and go out there and get a great price on some of these 25 models that they still have sitting out there because they haven't been used either, and they're brand new. So check out Alex City Marine right there on Highway 280. We got so many of our great partners right there on Highway 280. I name them all: Cart Source, Russell Medical Center, Alex City Marine. I can just keep going down the list. There's just so many really, really good partners there on Highway 280, and there's a reason for that. So, all right, Randy, anything else you got this morning before we say sayonara?
Baseball season's close at hand, Brett Pritchard, and
It starts Friday.
My social media streams just scream it right now, whether it be high school baseball getting started up here in the state of Alabama and talk at least around the Braves and what's going on there. But I'm really looking forward to this Auburn baseball season. I think the ceiling's as high, if not higher, than I can remember in quite some time. Maybe you can help me out with that in an upcoming show. Give me an idea of what Auburn's preseason ranking.
I think this is the highest ranking of an Auburn SEC baseball team since 2005.
And I would be shocked that 2005 team would have been chosen that high. I would have guessed maybe even back to a Baird season, but that's a long time ago. When you get 20 plus years ago,
Butch Thompson put some great teams on the field since then.
Oh, he sure he has.
But this tells you how highly the national media and everybody think of this Auburn baseball team this year. When you got Rembert back and Bub Terrell and Chase Freilich, and I can just go down in the pitching staff and what Coach Thompson was able to go out and get in the portal. So we're gonna continue to break all that down as we get closer. They start their season on Friday, a 3-game set at home. And so come out to Plainsman Park this weekend. I think the weather's going to be pretty good. Actually, when baseball season rolls around, you can almost set your watch to it. It's going to be 30 degrees and the wind's going to be blowing about 30 miles an hour, but you're not going to get that. Kind of get a little bit of a taste of spring out there right now. So, and then the softball team as well went 4-2 in their opening week, which was great. And after they started off with a loss to North Florida, they went down and beat Clemson and got some really big wins, competing against Michigan State and Penn State. And those beat Penn State, came back, won that game. So, look, some quality wins. And, look, we've got a very big announcement coming up on Monday. We're excited about our first brand ambassador Auburn athlete that we're going to be announcing. And some of you out there probably can guess who that person is if you followed us any in the past, but we are very excited about that announcement. So you got to hang in there with us on that. So, but we got a lot coming up. So definitely spring is coming and it can't get here fast enough. I'm looking forward to some Auburn softball and baseball for sure. Okay. Glenda Mitchell Law Firm. I can't say enough about that. And her team partnering with us here on the Auburn Blitz podcast and all the things that we have Auburn Blitz. There isn't anybody better out there. If you're hurt in a car accident, they come to you, and every client gets Glenda's personal cell number. Again, you deserve experienced and dedicated support on your side, and they help you pursue the financial relief you need for your recovery. And again, hope none of you ever have to go through that, but if you are having to deal with that, you need to contact Glenda Mitchell and her law firm, and they will get you the compensation and the help that you need. So thanks to Glenda Mitchell. We really appreciate her and her entire staff for joining us here at the Auburn Blitz. So, Randy, appreciate you this morning. And again, we will be back with everybody at lunch for the Auburn Blitz show. We will be on location at Russell Medical Center. Again, thanks to all of our great partners out there. You got anything else?
No, that's it. Spring season right around the corner, and it's
Bring it
going to
on.
be a fun time. And please, softball, get us back to where you were a decade ago. And Auburn baseball, let's please do something special this year. Look, we're football fans at Auburn University, but our bread is buttered by other sports right now. I'll put it that way, Brett. And I'm looking forward to baseball season.
Yeah, I'm excited about both of those programs and where
too.
they're going. All right, everybody. Appreciate all of you out there so much. Have a great day. Make sure you go out and do something good for somebody. Be a light out there. And we will see you at lunch for the Auburn Blitz live from Russell Medical Center.